Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing my out-of-box review for the HGUC Full Armor Unicorn Gundam Destroy Mode Red Color version. So with this being a very apparent case of Bandai milking their Unicorn Gundam molds once again, I'd assume that probably a lot of you guys maybe already have at least some version of the HGUC Unicorn Gundam already, so I feel like I maybe don't need to go into as much detail about the articulation and things like that with this kit. Personally, I think that this kit is really great. Actually, this is the first time that I've built the Unicorn Gundam in HG form as far as I can remember. I know I've built the Banshee, but not the Unicorn Gundam, even though it's mostly the same kit, and that was actually a clear kit though, so it's the first time I built just the standard release one in the HGUC form. Anyway, so it's great. I really quite like the Unicorn Gundam, as you may know, and so I was really happy to check this one out. So gotta say a big thank you, as always, to MindFenix Hobby Store for sending me this kit to share with you guys. One thing you may notice right off the bat is that I actually have all of the marking stickers on here. That's usually something that I don't do. Number one, just because I don't really like marking stickers. I don't think that they look good. The other reason is that it just takes time, and I am just very short on time mostly. But for this one, as I mentioned in the unboxing, I think the marking stickers for this kit are one of the key selling points of this, because really the only thing that makes this kit different from the previous version of this kit is obviously going to be a different color psycho frame. We now have red or pink instead of green, and we have all these marking stickers, and we have the inclusion of the Hyper Beam Javelin. So there's really not a whole lot to set this apart. Maybe if you already have the green psycho frame version of this kit, you're wondering, oh well, do I really want to get the red one? So I thought I need to really show off everything that's different about this kit, so that was why I decided to use the stickers in this case. And I have to say, the stickers actually look really good. I think if you wanted a kit, even if you're the kind of person who normally paints the kits, but maybe just wanted a kit, you know, just for fun, you want to get that you don't want to have to paint and just want to just kind of snap up and have fun with, just for a nice simple build, I think this is great. This kit looks really quite good just out of box with those stickers on, and one reason is I think the stickers usually don't look very good. One reason is that because the stickers, it's very easy to see the border of the stickers, and just the stickers show their stickeriness really too much in most cases. But with this kit being all kind of whitish color, you can't really see the border lines of the stickers very well at all on all the white parts, so I think that makes them look pretty good. In this case, you can see there's a couple on the backpack that do stick out a little bit more, but those are going to be pretty hidden once we slap all this stuff onto the backpack. So overall, I think the stickers actually work really quite well for this kit, so I'm quite pleased with that. The other thing to mention though, speaking of the white plastic, is that it definitely is not white. It's definitely a little bit more of an off-white cream color, and I think it looks really good with that red psycho frame. I really like the color that this is molded in. It's a really nice color. And then the blue for the feet and the backpack is just the same kind of just navy blue there, but it all looks really good, and just the colors that it's molded in. Now, the kit itself here looks great just out of the box. The weapons though are going to be maybe a little bit dull when you start putting all the weapons onto it, because they're all going to be pretty just gray or gray, dark gray or just standard gray. So you might want to do maybe a little bit of detail painting on the weapons and stuff just to make them look a little bit more interesting. And the weapons don't have any marking stickers on them with the exception of the shields, so that is also going to make them look maybe a little bit contrasting. So maybe if you have some extra water slides or something from some other kit laying around, maybe slap a few on the stickers. Water slides on the weapons. Water slides will look better on stickers on that gray plastic. So one thing that I do want to show you here before, I will talk a little bit about the articulation, just in case some of you guys have never seen or had any version of this kit before. One thing that I want to show you guys first before that is how this kit is going to look like under black light or under UV light, because that psycho frame is going to be very UV light reactive. So let me just stop this from rotating here and turn off the lights. So here we are. If you have this in some darker case or something under UV light, all of that psycho frame is going to be lighting up really nicely. I just have a flashlight here, UV flashlight here, so it's very directional. It's hard to light up the whole thing at once. But you can see there, all that psycho frame is going to glow really nicely there if you want to display this under a UV light. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about the articulation of this kit. The head I found is actually kind of quite loose, and I don't know if anyone else has had that problem with theirs, but I feel my head is quite loose there. But you're able to get that up about that far before the V-fin starts to run into the beam saber handles there mounted in the backpack. This white sticker here that wraps around the top of the Gatlings on the chest, the beam Gatling guns there built into the chest, that sticker looks okay. Unfortunately, kind of wish that was a part, but that's just kind of there. Then of course we have stickers for the eyes and cameras on the head there as well. Head's going to be able to go down about like that far. Bend in the torso is going to be a little bit there, but with all the stuff we're going to be adding onto the backpack, I'm kind of okay with not much of a bend there. Rotation, of course, the arms, again, are going to be able to go up. You're going to get some bend there, and some stuff is probably going to be falling off here. One thing that I have noticed is, yeah, this kit some stuff does want to come off pretty easily, so like with the master grade, which I have had some experience with, I think this is pretty much going to be, for the most part, a brick. You're going to want to like put everything on there and then just kind of leave it. So you're going to be able to get the arm up about like that, about 90 degrees there. It's kind of quite stiff, but again, I think that's okay with all the stuff we're going to be adding onto it. The arm is going to rotate there at the top of the arm, bend a little bit more than 90 degrees, but really not a whole lot much more. And the wrist is just on ball joints. Here in the front skirts are joined, but you can separate those. Those are also quite loose and just kind of just hang there very floppily. Side skirts move up and down. Back skirt is nothing. One thing that I don't like about the design of this back skirt, and it's the same thing for pretty much every version of this kit that I've built, is that when you're trying to move stuff around, of course you're probably going to like hold it here by the waist or something. When you hold this here, you just kind of automatically close up these parts. So it's really hard to pose this and keep those open. I wish that they would have molded this a little bit better so that those are plugged in like really firmly in this position, so you're not just closing those back skirts all the time, every time you touch the kit, just accidentally closing that. Backpack is looking really nice, but again, there's those stickers that do kind of stick out a little bit too much for me. You can definitely see the outline of those, but again, we're going to be covering that up very shortly. The legs are going to rotate there at the top just a little bit because they're just plugged on via a ball joint. There's no kind of rotation there at the top, unfortunately. This is pretty old high grade, really, if you think of it, if you basically go back to the original version of it. The knee is going to give you, again, just about a little bit more than 90 degrees, but not a whole lot before it's going to start to pull out of that polycap, as you just saw a moment ago. You'll notice that these parts here on the side of the leg are missing for a reason, because those are going to be you're going to omit those parts in the build, and you're going to be putting the grenades there. We'll come back to that in a moment as well. And then the ankles are just going to be on ball joints there, going to move a little bit, but again, not really a whole lot. I think that's okay. The back part there is just fixed because it's just fixed for the destroy mode. Front part there will move a little bit, but not really a whole lot. I'm glad that there aren't any stickers on the dark blue part of the feet, because I think that just markings there on that part of the feet have always just not really appealed to me very much, so I'm kind of glad we don't have them for this kit. The beam saber handles in the backpack can be removed and used in the open hands here, and then we can also move the beam tonfas, if I can get that placed into the right position there, and then you can have the beam saber there. Unfortunately though, as usual, we only have 2 beam saber effect parts. I really wish that they would include 4 with any unicorn kits, because it should be able to have 4. But unfortunately still only 2, but that's okay. For this kit we're not going to use any of them, so kind of doesn't really matter too much. So let's get into talking about the accessories, because obviously we have quite a lot with this kit. We've got our beam magnum, just one of them, and a trigger finger hand for that, which I already have attached onto here. We have a green sticker for the camera lens. Handle will move out and fall off if you're not careful. Otherwise, that is it for the movement on that. Then we have our shield. Some nice markings on there, nice psycho frame in that, and we actually have 3 of these, 3 open shields, and then we do also have a closed shield as well. This closed shield is going to be the one that's going to be going onto the backpack. So actually you're only going to use 2 of these if you're going to be having them like on the kit, but then if you're going to be having them as like the shield funnels, then you'll use 3 of these. So depending on how you're going to pose the kit, you may not actually use all 3 of these, or you may use 2 and then the closed one. The closed one though, unfortunately, on the psycho frame parts, it's just the white plastic. It's not actually a psycho frame runner. So I know when the shield is not active, I think that that is not really supposed to be lit up, but at least I think it would have been better as a clear piece. One thing that you can do is that this kit comes with this, which is the original shield for the HGUC kit. which is obviously missing a few parts here, but one thing that is included is the original clear psychoframe part for that original shield. So what you could do, this is just fixed pose here, you can't actually close that, it's just this one big piece, but you could cut that and you could just sort of do some modification and just kind of cut this and reshape it. You'd have to just basically glue some stuff in place instead of this just plain white piece in here for the shield going on the backpack. Just an idea, or you just have this left over. We have an extra set of beam magnum ammunition that can be plugged onto the back skirt. Just gonna plug this onto here, like so. Then we have our grenade racks, which are going to be going on the legs. There's 4 of them. The 2 bent ones are going to be going on the legs, and then we have 2 straight ones that are going to be going on the bazookas on the backpack. But let's get these on here first. Just going to go on here like that, and yeah, here you can see some parts kind of falling apart again. Again, I don't think this kit is really as flimsy as it may be appearing in this review. That's just because, you know, I'm like foiling around with it on camera, and that's kind of not really the best way to do it. Then we have our sets of beam Gatling guns. Now these I believe are different from the, at least the Unicorn version. I think the just like Unicorn mode version, the original version that we had of this, I think these were like separate parts. I think you had like a left and right side that you had to join together, if I remember correctly, but this is just all one piece. It's basically like here is 2 pieces you just sandwich together, and then the front pieces you just push onto there. So we have 1, 2, 3 of these, and so you'll put 2 on the arms and then 1 on the backpack. And then we have our, speaking of backpack, we have, this is like the frame part that's going to attach onto the backpack that we're going to be mounting everything onto. So there's that. Then we have our bazookas. So here's our hyper bazooka with the grenades on there, the anti-ship missiles here on the side. So those can be rotated kind of as you want. So you're going to have to rotate them for either the left or the right side. Then the grenade launcher is on there as well. Unfortunately, the grenade launcher is just molded onto there just as one piece, so you can't take the grenade launcher off and have it as like a separate gun unless you just like cut that off and then had to do a little bit of modification, but that's just molded on there, unfortunately. So we have that. You can actually make this shorter by removing this center piece and then just plugging this back in like that. It's supposed to be in the longer form for actually making this kit, but I guess if you really wanted to, you could make it in the shorter form if you want. So again, we have 2 of these that are going to be attached onto the backpack. We have our 2 fuel tanks, which just have 1 red sticker that's going to wrap around there. Actually 2 stickers on each one that will just wrap around there. Otherwise, just pretty nice big fuel tanks here, about as tall as the Gundam itself almost. One thing I almost did forget to mention, in the extra parts that we have this part, which is just an arm mount for the shield. So if you want to just mount a shield to the arm by itself without the beam Gatling guns, you'll notice there's no place to plug that in on here. What you'll have to do is use this part, which is on the shield that's actually on the backpack here, and then you can plug this onto there. So you have to take this gray part and switch it off with one of these other shields. And then you can just put that connection piece on there and then mount the shield just onto the arm by itself. If you want to do that, you can do that by using this extra piece. Just don't throw this away. And then of course we have the Hyper Beam Javelin. Here it is. Very impressive, right? Well, obviously this is the closed form, the inactive version. Nothing's really is going to move on this. This is just kind of just how it is here. I think you can plug this onto the side skirt if you want. I think we'll just plug onto here like this. There, if you wanted. I don't think you really want to do that, but if you, for whatever reason did, you can. But if you want to actually hold it, then here is the actual full active version with a very large effect part there. This thing is gigantic. I found up here where everything kind of comes together, it's the connection's not very good. It's just a very small peg that's going to connect this part onto there, and that's kind of it. The handle can rotate here, so you'll be able to rotate that around if you want. And then I think you can probably hold it on different points. So here too, you can probably hold it there, or up in that part if you really wanted, but that kind of wouldn't make sense. Anyway, to give you an idea of how tall this is, here it is next to the kit. As you can see, very, very large. The actual tip, even before you get to the beam effect part, just the tip of it is much taller than the Gundam itself. And speaking of height comparisons, I did just want to compare this to an RX-782 Gundam for you guys, just in case you're unaware how tall the Unicorn Gundam is. It's quite a bit taller than the standard Gundam, so this kit is going to be pretty big. Not as big as a 1/100 scale, definitely not quite that big. Even a small 1/100 scale is still going to be a little bit bigger than this, but it's going to be kind of close. It's definitely a pretty tall kit. You can see the normal Gundam is about 18 meters tall in reality. The Unicorn Gundam in Destroy Mode, I believe, is something like 23 meters, so it's going to be a good 5 meters taller than the Gundam there. And last few things here, lest I forget, we have these two little stands. These are going to be used for the fuel tanks. So when you have this mounted onto the backpack is obviously going to be very heavy. So we have these here to help support the weight of the fuel tanks. I almost forgot, you have to actually take this apart, put this in there like that, attach that again. There you go, and then there's a stand for that. So when this is plugged into the backpack, so you don't have the Gundam just falling backwards, you have these stands for that. And then we also have this other stand for, again, if you wanted to have the shield funnels, you can have them stand on here. So here's 1, 2, 3 of these that we have for that, so you can have the shield funnels all mounted separately, or you can use this piece which will mount all 3 shields together, and then you mount this onto here like this, like that, and then that will hold all 3 shields together on here. So I'll show you that again here in a moment, but let's get this guy loaded up with all of his stuff here. So here is this ridiculous beast of opportunity, you may say, all loaded up with everything on here. I'm trying to get this rotated a little bit here for you. Very loaded. I don't know how else I can really say. There's just so much stuff you have to pile onto this kit. A lot of people have said, and I would tend to agree, that this really seems kind of a little bit inaptly named as the full armor. It should be like full weapon or something, because they really aren't adding a whole lot of extra armor onto it except for the 2 extra shields, which are hardly covering much of anything except for a couple of the million guns on the kit. So yeah, overall gonna be a really nice kit. One thing that is, I think, one of the biggest disadvantages in just terms of like actual, I don't know, reality of having the full armor Gundam in any version, I think the high grade, master grade, or perfect grade, one of the biggest disadvantages is how much space it's going to take up just because it's so deep, because of the fuel tanks. The fuel tanks look really awesome, and especially once you have this up on an action base, it looks really cool, but just it's going to take up a lot of space on your shelf there just because of these fuel tanks. So I mean, that's something that some people may have to be like very cautious of if you have very limited space for displaying your kits. But overall, I think it's kind of hard to disagree that this is a pretty awesome looking kit. Here's a look at holding the Hyper Beam Javelin there with 2 hands. You can move the handle. I forgot to mention while showing that before, you can move the handle into a higher position up on the main shaft there of the Hyper Beam Javelin, and you can hold it here with 2 hands, so I think that does look pretty cool. It's not a complete brick. You can get a couple, and I emphasize probably a couple, poses out of this, and I guess I really shouldn't write it off that easily, because all the weapons on there are functional. Like, you can just use, you don't have to have them all on there at once. You can like just have the beam Gatling guns on the arms, or just one on the arm, and just actually using that in some sort of action pose. Or the bazookas, you can actually hold the bazookas in the hands if you want. You don't have to have the extra weapons attached onto the side. Of course, then you're just going to have those probably kind of ugly just attachment points just on the side of the bazooka. Probably aren't going to look that good, but all the weapons on there aren't just on there. I mean, they're not there just for show. They're not there just for display, although they pretty much there are just for display, just for decoration in this case. But you can actually have those all actually doing something if you so choose. One more quick comparison here I'll make for you guys, since we're talking about full armor Gundams. Here's the, once again, full armor Thunderbolt Gundam, which we've seen quite a lot of recently, but just wanted to give you guys one more comparison here since we're talking about full armor. So to wrap this review up, here you can see what the shields are going to look like, all mounted onto that stand there. Again, we do have 3 stands, so you can mount the shields separately. The one thing that I kind of don't really like about the stands that we get included for the shields is that there's no way to change the angle of them at all. So like if you have them on there, they're just going to be like flat, like just perpendicular to the floor or ground or shelf or whatever you have them stood on. And then here for the kind of triangle thing there, the Illuminati shield you can make here, you can't change the angle at all, so I mean it's just kind of just flat 90 degrees there. A little bit boring angle. It would be nice if you could change that a little bit. I believe with the perfect grade kit that actually attaches onto just a standard action base, so you would be able to change the angle of that, which is nice. But for this kit, for The high grade, I guess that is going to be okay. You can't have it all, right? I think that the stand that we do get for this works perfectly well, so I'm pretty happy with that, I guess. The only other thing that maybe I wish that we did get included with this kit that we don't have is an open hand. At least one open hand for the left hand. You know, two is always nice, but you can't always have two. And the one thing that I did also forget to mention, I think I did forget to mention this, sorry about that you guys, is that you can actually include the closed up version of the Hyper Beam Javelin there that I have attached onto the side skirt at the moment. You can actually put that in to the arm as well, like it is kind of like it is on the Master Grade, how it has the Hyper Beam Javelins there like between the beam Gatling guns and the shield when you have all that stuff like stacked onto the arm. So you can do that with this one as well. I forgot to mention that. If you do that, you can use the sort of arrow part, the triangle part of the Hyper Beam Javelin pointed out from the arm. You could do that in this case. Yeah, that's just up to you. So it would have been nice, I guess, if we're talking about ways that this kit could have been better. It would have been nice to include two Hyper Beam Javelins, but again, one is still better than the nothing that we had for two previous versions of this kit, of just standard release versions anyway. So overall, fantastic kit. If you already have the green Psycho-Frame version, you know, this may not be for you, but I would say if you're a big Unicorn fan, then by all means go for it, because it is going to be just another great Unicorn kit, and it looks good. Some people say, and I might agree, that the HGUC version has the best proportions and the best overall look and stability. I still prefer the proportions of the Master Grade personally, but this one is looking pretty darn good. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you do have any other questions or comments, do leave those down below. It is a little bit disappointing that the parts inside the Hyper Beam Javelin that are supposed to show Psycho-Frame don't have any Psycho-Frame there. One other small little complaint, but that's about it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Leave your questions and comments down below. There's a whole lot to this kit, so I'm sure there's a few little bits and bobs here that I missed. So let me know that down below, or not. Just enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!